everybody has what I consider the moment. Whether it was your first time driving that brand new car off the lot, or perhaps it was that first kiss in high school. Maybe it was the acceptance letter that you got in college to attend college. Everybody has what I like to call the moment. A time when it put a smile on your face. It was unforgettable. It was so special. If I were to ask any of you to share with me what your moment, your most favorite moment was of all time, you would be able to probably share it in great detail. Why? Because it was the moment. Speaking of college letter acceptances, when I received my college letter of acceptance from Bucknell University, many moons ago now, it was the moment. My mom and I were sitting in the living room. We pulled out this piece of paper, and it was a $160,000 scholarship to attend Bucknell University. Now, I'm a person from very simple means. You're looking at a guy who is familiar with heating up water over the stove in pots so that we would have warm baths because we didn't have hot running water in the home. Also, my family of four, we grew up in the single back bedroom of my grandmama's house. And my grandmother had 10 kids. It was a tight living situation. So to see a $160,000 scholarship right in front of me, there were many people around my area who had never seen a deal like that before. And I'm now holding the responsibility of becoming a first-time generation college student. It was the moment. My mom and I, we were floored. We could not believe it. And then I was so excited about attending Bucknell's campus that once I got to Bucknell University, which is also known as the Junior Ivy League, once I got on campus, I started to scratch my head and think to myself, well, what am I going to do now that I'm here? Have anybody by show of hands ever asked that question? What am I going to do next? Yeah, that was me. Once I got on campus, I'm like, what am I going to do now? And I know that you have, because get this statistic. 50%, everybody say 50. 50%, or half of the students who come to college declare undecided. Anybody ever did that in the room? All right, and then another 75% will change their major at least one time within 4 years. Am I talking to you yet? Yeah. And so many of you have probably asked yourself that question, what am I going to do next? So my goal with you today is to be able to help you understand what's inside of you to pull out your greatness. I believe every single one of you have a special gift, have a special talent to be able to set the world ablaze. But what happens is we don't necessarily know what our gifts are, what our purpose is. And because of that, we may have issues sometimes with choosing a major or getting deep into what our major is. I love the words of Mark Twain. He says, the two most important days in a person's life is when they are born and when they figure out why they are born. And here's another good question I believe that you need to ask yourself. Not just, who am I? Hear me closely. Not just who am I, but who am I not? And how about this? Once you figure out what your gift is, what you were born to do, I wrote a book called Born Gifted, How to Unwrap the Gifts Inside You for Success. Once you figure out who you are, what you were born to do, then choosing a major becomes easy. And what's inside of you? Let's revisit that question one more time. I figured out what was inside of me on a special moment, if you will. On Bucknell's campus, I played football there, and September the 25th, 2004, in front of 8,233 screaming fans, my teammate throws me about a 50-yard bomb. And out of nowhere, I feel my feet lift off the ground. I'm diving in the air now. It was probably nanoseconds, but in my mind, it was like, I mean, I'm in the air, I'm going for it, and before you know it, I catch it in the back of the end zone, and then I'm surrounded by a sea of teammates. What made that moment the moment so special? Was it the bright lights? It was a night game, and college football players love playing underneath the lights. Was it the bright lights? I don't think so. Was it the cheerleaders waving their pom-poms, saying, go Nissan, do the thing, boy? No, it wasn't even that. What made that moment the moment, can I tell you? It was me using my gift. something that I didn't even realize I had inside of me, but I was able to have almost like this outer body experience. And it was so fun. So here's point number one. You ought to make sure that you commit this to memory. Gifted people have fun utilizing their gift, operating in their gift. If it doesn't make you smile, if it doesn't make you laugh, if it doesn't offer up that feeling like this is like a feeling of a lifetime, then guess what? It's probably not your gift. And here's another thing. When I was flying like a stealth bomber in the air, it was something that was very natural for me. It came out of nowhere. En route to your gift, you have to think like this. What do you do the best, trying the least? Let me repeat that. What do you do the best, trying the least? You know what young people do, particularly around the age of 5 years and younger? I have a 5-year-old, I have a 3-year-old, and I also have a little bitty one too. Here's what they're good at doing. They're good at dreaming. They love to dream. You would be hard-pressed to try to convince my 5-year-old and my 3-year-old that they aren't Spider-Man, Batman, the Incredible Hulk. Listen, I have the bumps and bruises on my body to prove it. I've been caught in Spider-Man's web a number of times. It's a wonder I'm alive today. Why? Because they are dreamers. And you cannot tell them that they're not. So real gifted people, I hope you're hearing me closely, they have the ability to dream and dream big. Look to the person beside you, tell them, dream big. Go ahead, tell them. Yeah, dream big. Whether you're 5 years old, whether you're 50 years old, you should never lose the ability to dream big. And then once you dream big, you must become highly inquisitive. In other words, interrogate yourself and ask yourself a whole bunch of questions. I love the quote from Socrates. He says, "The unexamined life is a life not worth living." Let me repeat that. The unexamined life is a life not worth living. And I don't know if you are asking yourself the right questions and interrogating yourself. So I want to offer up to you some questions that you should be asking yourself to discover your gift. Because remember, the whole point of this is I want you to be able to know what you're good at doing, what you're gifted at doing, what you were created to do, born to do, so that choosing a major and going deep into that major, it becomes second nature. So how about this as a question? When you were younger and folks asked you, what do you want to be when you grow up? What was your response to that? Or what would you do that you didn't even necessarily have to get paid for? And I know everybody wants to be able to get that big check and ball out of control here. But how about if dollar bills wasn't in the equation, what would you do? What do you do that you talk about so much and you sometimes catch yourself talking about it so much among your friends? And your friends will say, you know, I've heard you share this story over and over again. I get it. You like this. How about this? What about somebody in your corner, in your circle, who you admire, who you revere and respect? Why is it that you respect them? Why is it that you revere them? What problem, here's a good one, are you trying to fix? What easily agitates you? Maybe you're a builder and your goal is to be an engineer, and you see how much better you could build this building that we're in right now, how it could be more easily accessible, more functional. When you look at art, maybe you're an artist and you see, oh, I could have probably changed that up a little bit and the art would pop a little bit more because you have that third eye as an artist. Maybe it's social work and you know how to love the unlovable. But you want to know what my favorite question all time is? When people who you revere and respect see something in you, what do they see? But my mother, she seen a gift in me at a very early age. In fact, she seen the ability to speak and communicate at a very, very early age. At sometimes 4 and 5 years old. She did not want me to be the next Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. She wanted me to be Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. She would, eyes up, son. You sound monotone. Use your hand gestures. Convince me more. Believe it. Sell the story. And she would go on and on while other kids were out in the yards playing, having fun. She would hand me the longest speeches she could find. Why? Because she seen a gift in me, And this is what I want you to do. Sometimes you have to believe in other people's belief in you until your belief kicks in. That's big. That's huge. How many people in your circle are asking you to rise to a higher level? Telling you to level up. I'm sure you're not on this campus wasting time. I mean, this is why you're here, to get the most out of this experience. So who around you is telling you you can be that and more? This is interesting. I believe that we can use what inspires us to inspire other people. I was attending the book signing of the great Dr. Brian C. Johnson. And I'm at his table. Now, the room downstairs is one of my all-time favorite books. I mean, I swallowed that book for lunch. I ate it up. 2 or 3 days, maybe, max. And so I'm at his table. He opens up the book, signs a message in the inside, hands it back to me, and him and in his 6'3", 6'4" frame, bald head, this is my Dr. Brian C. Johnson voice, one day, he hands me the book, one day, I'll be attending your book signing. And boom, just like that, like a bat out of hell, I flew out of that library, immediately went to my office downstairs at home, and started typing out chapter 5 of my book, Born Gifted, called Talent Advisory Alert. Because I was determined right then and there to broadcast to myself that I would no longer play small. That I was making a public announcement to myself that I would play up a notch. And then what began to happen is I became an author. I used the same thing that inspired me to inspire others. So here is what you should do en route to discovering your gift, because remember, that's the goal. What inspires you? Who inspires you? I mean, what on this campus will cause you to level up and be better? And I want to take it a step further, because Dr. Brian C. Johnson, he was generous with his comments to me. He didn't have to say what he said. And en route to finding your gift, hear me, you have to become generous. Let me plead my case. If you want to discover something special inside of you, generosity must be a banner that you fly high. Here's the reason why. You can find your gift by way of giving. I started an organization called The Gathering at Bucknell University. And one of the things that we used to do is during the wintertime, we would have these stations set up around campus, and we would pour out hot chocolate into these small little styrofoam cups. And with mere strangers in the gathering, we would meet others on the campus and hand them a hot cup of cocoa. And that was challenging for me. I had to try to overcome my fears of doing that. But what that allowed me to do is realize, wait a minute, I got a gift of encouragement right here. Even though I'm a little bit afraid to meet somebody new, I'm giving something special that's going to make a tremendous dent on this campus. I wasn't even trying to be all hype like that, but at some point, Bucknell University awarded me the Diversity Award of the Year, the Diversity Achiever Award of the Year. First time ever administered. Why? Because I was giving. So think about the clubs. Think about the organizations. Think about the missions on this campus. Where can you serve? Where can you give? And in doing that, watch what will happen. You will discover your gift. My mom gave me something very special one day. And it helped me with this whole concept of how to discover your gift and your purpose. It was Thanksgiving 2015. I called my milk chocolate mother over the phone. We from Alabama, so we Southern. She's my Southern belle. I say, yo, Mom, you're not going to believe this. I got this banging mac and cheese dish. And I started to go on. I said, you got to make sure that you get the name brand stuff, Mom, the Kraft cheese. You got to get the Kraft cheese. Anybody like Kraft cheese? Oh, yeah, you got to get the Kraft. And make sure that once you get that second layer of noodles on, you pour the condensed milk in, and then Mom stops me mid-sentence and she says, son, you can spare me the details. I know how to make mac and cheese. I can make mac and cheese some 4 and 5 different ways. Then she goes, you'll be great when you can make mac and cheese good without the cheese. I'm like, what? Y'all, I'm scratching my head Like, how do you make mac and cheese good without the cheese?